Bienvenidos a otra edición de Tomando Café con Jesús Hoyos, y hoy pues esta conversación de café es prácticamente en inglés. Hoy tenemos a Lachlan Brown, él está visitando de Australia. Tengo la oportunidad de haberlo conocido a él, y ellos tienen un producto que se llama Ortto, que hace marketing automation, un poquito varias cosas más. Y ahora pues voy a cambiar el inglés. I'm going to switch to English. Welcome to Drinking Coffee with Jesús Hoyos.
You're welcome.
This is the Australian Latin America connection here, because Ortto is based out of Australia, and Lachlan is coming from Australia. Good morning, good morning to you. Good afternoon. Good evening for me, to me.
Yeah.
So, we met. We've been, discussing and asking you product and everything. And before we go and start talking, about the product and all the cool stuff that you guys do, you drink coffee, no?
I do. Yeah. This is my third coffee. Third. Well, I'm a long black. What do you drink?
Black as well. Actually, I'm drinking one from Puerto Rico. It's called Rincon Specialty Coffee.
Okay, nice.
Okay, I got it from a care package from my aunt, because I'm here taking care of my mother with my brothers and sister, and she's been sending us stuff, coffee and goodies from Puerto Rico. And Rincon is a surfing town on the west coast of Puerto Rico, and they have their own coffee. It looks like, and it looks like that it's 100% from Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what I'm drinking, and it's black coffee, and because it's my evening today. I think this is my 20th cup today.
I was about to ask you how many coffees do you have a day?
Well, according to my mother, I drink seven cups of coffees every day. So but this is probably my 20th today. It's been a long day today.
Yeah, I generally try to have like 2 to 3 in the morning, and then that's it for the day. Unless, of course, I got meetings in the nighttime. Do you try to have Puerto Rican coffee the most, or do you try different?
I try to. And in Florida, you can find, you go to a supermarket and you find all kind of coffee place, coffee brand from all over. I usually order them from Amazon, and I have a place. It's called Cuela from Puerto Rico. Cuela means dripping, the drip of the coffee, and I buy from them. They have a specialty. Since Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, I've been trying to buy local coffee, to help support the economy, and the local farmers who are processing or growing coffee, and so that's part of what I try to do. But I love coffee. I need to have coffee all the time. Drinking coffee, while I speak and everything. And that's why this is called Drinking Coffee with Jesús Hoyos. To discuss, how people drink coffee. So do you have your own coffee from Australia, or you bring?
We buy
coffee from other places.
So I have 2 types of coffee. I like cold brew in summer, and then my long blacks in winter. So we filter our own like cold coffee. So generally we'll buy, there's like from local Australian roasters, but then generally like they might be from Ecuador or from South America, and then generally African beans as well. But it's kind of Australian roasters, but then they import the coffee beans. And then in winter, I just drink an espresso, or I go out for a cafe. But I remember when I went to America, you'd have to import the coffee because the coffee is so horrible in America.
Yeah, actually, I was in Italy last year, and I was starting to drink about the history of the American coffee.
Yeah,
it comes from World War II, where they were drinking black coffee, and it was really ugly, bad coffee, and that's what they call it, American coffee. Well, now they call it Americano, and now has different flavors, that kind of stuff. So it has evolved, So, but yeah, I drink all kind of coffees, but usually I take it black, So I like to drink my sugar with coffee.
Actually,
no, go ahead.
I was going to say Australia, it's funny, we're quite snobbish about our coffee. It's quite a big, I think we're quite similar to, I know South Americans and Italians love their coffee. Australia has a huge coffee culture as well. I think they're trying to import it to the US at the moment, like kind of open Australian-like cafes. But no, yeah, coffee is life. I'm the same as you.
Yeah, and and when you're here in South Florida or Central Florida, one of the key things that you need to learn that when you ask for Cuban coffee, it comes already with this sugar and this coffee, okay, and it's extremely strong, and that's why the Cuban coffee is extremely strong. So you have one sip and you are awake for the whole day. So compared with other coffees, from different countries or here in the States. So cool, which is funny because this is good transition because Ortto came from, it's a new name of the old company because you have like two different products, one is specific to journeys, and another one is specific to email marketing, and you guys combine those two concepts into Ortto, and I say this is the Spanish name Ortto, and you guys do marketing automation and you guys do journeys, you guys do end to end, and when we mention marketing automation, you guys do end to end marketing, prospecting, upselling, cross selling, you do the end to end, for both B2B and B2C, and you have integration with Salesforce and Zendesk. You have your own CDP to do many things. So that's the basics. So I wanted you to invite you because I know you guys are looking for partners and you expanding to eventually to Latin America. I want you to have this conversation to understand about Ortto. So I sort of compared you guys to tools that are doing customer journeys at the mid-side level, small, medium, some large enterprises that they don't need any sophistication. But you guys are, that's your main focus because, and then you correct me, because you don't have, like, for example, like Active Campaign here in the States, they already have a CRM. Constant Contact already have a CRM. Your approach is different. You connect to any CRM, you bring the data, and you execute that with journeys. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have your own repository to bring the data, accommodate that cross, reference all that data, and you can do many things with the customer journey. So that's the perspective that I have. Now I'll let you explain what Ortto is.
Yeah. No, that's no, thank you for the introduction. Yeah, so you are correct. So effectively, Autopilot, they've been in market since I think about 2015 or so. So they were initially found in Australia. They then moved to San Fran and were kind of based out of America for a couple of years pre-COVID. So where Ortto came from, it's effectively a completely new product. So I like to consider us a startup within an existing team. So our customer success and our sales team is all new for the new product. Where it kind of came from, and for instance, I used to work at Active Campaign before here. So from the, I guess, the marketing automation side, as you know, there's so many different vendors. And I think where Autopilot did fantastic is on the customer journey and a really simple, automations and kind of, I guess, bringing that journey builder, I guess, to the SME and mid-market space. And then also they had a few enterprise customers as well. Where Ortto came from, it's kind of, there was two problems, I guess, identified in the marketing automation space. And you might agree, obviously, for some of the clients you've worked with as well, there was a data problem and an analytics problem. So you had a lot of these marketing automation tools that whilst you could effectively, you could build journeys and things like that, there was a lot of data they couldn't get their hands on. And that might have been data in the product or the CRM. And so then what you then had to do is you then found marketers were having to speak with the data team to, effectively export data from their SQL database, upload that into, like a MailChimp or an Active Campaign, and then run a campaign. You, of course, had on the top end of town, which is, I think, where you're talking we think of your Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Marketo, Pardot, those true kind of enterprise platforms, which were already playing in that data space. At the top where, there were kind of an all-in-one where you're a CRM, marketing automation, and what HubSpot's done really well, where it became this all-in-one tool. And so I guess where Ortto kind of fits in quite nicely into that market is we're definitely not a CRM, and we definitely will never kind of entertain like going down that path. Where we find we fit is really nicely on top of businesses, that as an example run a Salesforce, but have had trouble, like I guess activating that data for a very long time. But it might not just be Salesforce. They might be a software company with product data, as an example, or there might be, an event company which hosts, courses on their website and things like that. So that's kind of where the problem, I guess, where Ortto, was birthed from, is identifying first that there was a data problem and then analytics within that data as well. And so that's probably where the product comes from. We still do marketing automation and email marketing, SMS. We've just released push notifications as well. We're still kind of that omnichannel concept, but I think it's more about the back end of the product is an event-based data model, which just gives you more options on segmentation, recency and frequency, automation, and those kind of things, which is good.
Could you explain? What does it mean event-based?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. So I think the data, like the data model of a CRM, as an example, if you think of it, it's quite static. So as an example, like I might go into Salesforce and update an opportunity, or if I, for instance, might be logging in to my, I might log into the platform as an example. Like I'll use our mobile phone as an example. If you're a customer of Netflix, you log into Netflix. The way the data typically shows in most platforms is just you might have like a login date, and that's the only data that's pushed into your marketing automation platform. So for instance, you might only be able to segment on last login date was this. So as an example, what a lot of marketing automation platforms have to do, when someone opens an email, they then have an automation set up which updates a field that was the last date they opened an email. The way Ortto works is that when someone opens an email, it stores that data as an event with both the date and time stamp. So what that means is that every time they open that email, you can then filter on the search of those things last happening. So it just means that whilst in theory you can achieve the same thing with each platform, we just make the data more accessible from day one as well. So you just have to set up less automations to track things like, great, I want to track people that have logged in 3 times in the last week and have done X. Whereas in other platforms, you'd really have to push the data into different fields and then do field formulas to segment and do audiences and things like that.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it looks. Probably I don't want to say that you guys do, but this, journey orchestrations. But you're listening. You're listening to that event, okay, and you're gonna perform that journey from that, based on that. And this will be my next question. Traditionally, you have a lot of journeys that add, from left to right. Okay, especially because what you mentioned, I have a static data, and then if they open the email, I do something. But because that's the email is the exception because we all can do emails, okay. But if you expand that into the other touch points, okay, in messaging, in app, SMS, a chat, omnichannel conversation, they visit the web page and so on, push notification, you do that based on that event. And I can have a journey with notes, with specific, very specific things that I can act upon that. I don't need to have a journey with, 20 notes, or 20 actions. I can be very specific. Is that right? Is that something that you guys can probably do? Listen to that information, and the reason I'm saying this because I want to go beyond the traditional. They have the customer journey for when the person abandoned the shopping cart.
Yeah.
That's one touch point that will, in your different nodes that you have in your journey, that's one. You might have multiple ones. Okay. So what happens when they pay? What happens when they don't pay? What happens when, if they download the app, and they log in, there's many things that, you can do in the whole journey, especially for because when I talk about journeys and having these nodes and this orchestration of, touch points, data points, it's based on the life cycle of, that customer is having with you. It's not based on a particular action per se.
Correct.
But, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think, and like using the example, and one thing I should mention as well is a unique element is the ability to create your own custom events within the product. So as an example, if you've got like, as an example, like an online portal and there's like an onboarding process and that's broken down into 4 stages that are important to you, we can track, or you can create these custom events which can track those. So I always like to use an example of how we use Ortto. So as an example, we might have a trial sign up. So that's a great, that's an event that happens. Someone signs up to a trial of Ortto. They might then have a Gmail account as an example, which typically would in our world wouldn't necessarily define them as a good lead. But if they log in, for instance, 2 times in the first 3 days and take actions within the platform, this is identifying to us that, hey, this lead, despite the fact they've signed up, maybe, Lachlan@gmail.com, they're clearly maybe a marketer that knows what they're doing in the product because they're building a journey, they've created a template, they're clearly activated. So because whilst our high level, if we were doing on normal segmentation, it's a Gmail bad lead, because we're using the product data and the event data, we can then identify that this is a good lead that's then worth popping in a journey, pushing it to Salesforce, creating a lead, creating a task to notify the sales rep to reach out to them. So it's more about that, like, I guess, how quickly you can action those data as a marketer as opposed to that simple thing where it's just like, you have your funnel set up based on, you push leads based on country and business domain. Whereas we can, I guess, we can get the data in the hands of the marketers faster through the event model.
So the static data will be the product data, the dynamic data will be the event.
Correct.
You combine that, you should be able to do many things in the journey. So I see here, I'm going to go down the many things that you have. You have your own data platform, you have a journey, and you focus in the customer lifecycle. Of course, you have analytics, you have email marketing, SMS, transactional email, which, you probably, many people are looking for that as well. In-app messages, push notifications, pop-ups, surveys, forms, live chat, and, lately, last week, I believe you guys announced the omnichannel inbox.
Yes. So we've released, it's a kind of two parts to it. It can be used as a support tool, and you can also use it to like trigger conversations for your sales team. So we're using it on our pricing page as an example to, like, someone visits a pricing page, you have little pop-ups that are quite, specific and intent-based for top of funnel capture. And then we, of course, have the support agent where, you can embed it into your mobile app or in your website. And then obviously you can, kind of like a Zendesk or an intercom where people can use it for support.
So I'm assuming that you guys are, you don't do the ticketing, but you can have your own inbox, your omnichannel inbox, and then you can integrate to Salesforce Service Cloud, you can integrate to Zendesk, and bring that data, and you guys will do the journeys.
Well, actually, no. So we can do the ticketing as well. So we ourselves
can do the ticketing as well. Okay.
Yeah. So we ourselves, and it started with the omnichannel inbox, and then obviously kind of the product evolved, and we were like, we as a business ourselves, we used, I think it was Help Scout and Zendesk, and we obviously identified, well, it kind of makes sense, if we're thinking of like, we're a software company, you've got support over here, customer success in the middle, and then sales, and you can have such a fractured technology stack with support over in these tools, Salesforce in the middle, and your marketing team over here. So I think where the evolution of the product going is kind of that true single view of the customer, where you can track those conversations from day one of, what did they say on the pricing page? How do they go through the sales cycle? And then, what are their product inquiries during onboarding? And that way it's kind of that true single view of the customer on one platform. Obviously, the only thing we're not really doing is the CRM component, and that's why we have native integrations with your HubSpots and Salesforce and things like that. Okay.
For what you have seen, you have your own, app store. People can, you already integrate to the many of well-known applications, and I see also that you provide playbooks or templates. I see many here, from, the trial, follow-up, net promoter score, feature announcements, feedback, Salesforce follow-up to a demo, so you have, many things in here. How are these templates or playbooks? Are they, can I just click and reuse them?
Yeah.
How that works,
Do you want to show you real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's share. I'll share my screen. Entire screen. Okay, perfect. Let me know when that's. Oh, good. It shows you. That's sharing.
Yeah. You had it there, so.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect.
So with the platform, we've tried to templatize the whole product overall. So as an example, even with your reporting component, which we can probably touch on later, we've tried to build it out. So if you use Salesforce, here's some stock standard Salesforce and reporting and dashboards you should have. So touching on the automations component, the campaigns, we've got 5 different types of, I guess, engagement. So you've got your static email campaigns. You can do SMS, push notifications as single campaigns. Push is web, mobile, like iOS and Android. But touching on a journey real quick. So let's do a Salesforce. Let's do a sales demo follow-up. I will do a round robin assignment. Use template. So all you simply then do is you just connect your data sources. So I think with the template itself, just to scroll down, within Salesforce down here, if I just quickly edit this, these are the different actions you can take. So, we can create records in Salesforce, we can update Slack. So the way we use Ortto, we use Salesforce, of course, here at Ortto, and Slack. So we have a whole range of automation set up, particularly on product activation and things like that. Click too far. And that's pretty much how quickly the journeys are. And then, from here, if you then want to do, let's just split it. And if I want to quickly do a push notification down this way, we'll call this a test.
Very easy and simple to do, no?
Yeah, and we've tried to build A/B testing through the whole thing. I think, one of the powerful things here is with the segmentation component, is once you connect all your data sources, you can just use it throughout the whole product. So as an example, if you wanted to have, hey first name as an example, connect your data sources. And from here, you can obviously see what it looks like on different platforms.
Nice.
Yeah,
even the Apple Watch.
Yeah. No, it's a very nice UI. And then so from here, primary action, you can have deep links as well, which is really powerful.
So I see that if I can send that push to multiple devices and OSs and everything, and do I need to compile anything? You just push it to the notification, because sometimes if I have my own mobile app, do you have to bring some sort of a SDK inside of my mobile app so you can push data, or how that works?
Yeah, correct. So as part of the setup, we have a sales development kit. So you set that integration up as well. If you want to feed activity from, as an example, actions within the mobile app, if that's from a data warehouse or just, from the back end of the mobile app, you can create those as custom activities as well. But then we have settings which, can control what time they're sent. And, obviously you don't want to be sending an SMS, email, and a push notification the same day. I know Uber Eats does it. It's very annoying. So you can have a lot of those controls to make sure that you're not over communicating to your customers as well.
So let me ask you this: I saw that you have the different branches with the Salesforce logo, and that's going back and forward, but to Salesforce. But you have your own CDP. How that works? If I want to bring data from Zendesk, I use Salesforce for Sales Cloud, SFA, Zendesk for Service Cloud, and I use you guys for marketing. Okay, and I have my traditional landing page, and based on the data from the landing page and the clicks and the downloads, all that activity, and I know that I can identify, hey, the person is already a customer and he has 3 ticket opens. I want to take a particular journey. Okay, can I do that? Because traditionally in marketing automation, you enter as a lead, and then you have to synchronize with Salesforce and then sync back. It goes into the lead object. too late. You follow
Yeah.
me? You know, the transaction is already too late, you know, understanding who the customer is. So since you have already CDP embedded, you can quickly identify, you know, who Jesús Hoyos is via the email. You have, you know, like a persona segment audience, and then you can do something because you identify that it's already a customer. With 3 tickets that are open, you know.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that? Am I right or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Okay.
the best way to explain it is that, so you have your data sources, right? So, and I think this is a perfect example, Salesforce. So these are all the things that are, you know, happening in Salesforce. So as an example, like a lead owner. So effectively the way the data is ingested is coming through as these events, as you can see here. So if I click into James, I can see all the things that James has done. So he had a user session, he downloaded a course brochure, he subscribed to email. He was then created as a lead and then converted. So these are all the things that happened, one on our website and then in Salesforce. Now, if I wanted to identify James really quickly, you can create audiences. And I think because of the way the data set up, if you wanted to go people who downloaded a brochure has occurred, and then, you know, for instance, lead has not occurred. So I've got 54 people that we know have downloaded a course but haven't been converted into an opportunity yet. So these could be called my active leads. Hope this answers the question for you.
Yeah, so, you know, this is actually, but, you know, I see it, you know, I can say, let's look at the contact record and identify if the person is already a customer, you know, so it's not a new customer, it's an existing customer with a new opportunity versus a brand new customer, you know, which is a new lead, you know, and you know, unfortunately, a lot of marketing automation systems, they fail to do that, you know, to quickly identify who you are, you know. So
I think, and to touch on that, I think where a lot of businesses struggle with marketing automation is particularly with larger databases. When you do have that concept of, you know, maybe 3 different stages or 5 different stages of the customer lifecycle, there really is a lot of data sources that actually control those entry and exit criteria to those. So the way I like to think of, I guess, where we add a lot of value, if you think of this concept of the audience, if you obviously, like, you know, for instance, when sales is talking to a lead, you don't want to bombard them with, you know, marketing emails. And it's thinking like, when does marketing hand off to sales and when does sales hand back off to marketing? And audiences really, I guess, allow you to control that when you think of your data. Because as an example, if people download a course brochure, these are my active leads as an example, people might exit when opportunities won. So we know that occurs. So as an example, from a marketing component, I would just never touch anyone in this audience because they enter when they download the brochure and they exit when the opportunity is won. And that's when I know they're a customer. So I think we kind of, whilst we're not, you know, I guess in terms of ingesting the data and things like that, it's more about I guess, the controls we give you to make sure you're communicating to the right audience at the right time based on your data sources. And I think that's where there was a big gap in the market before. And that's why a lot of people don't do the marketing automation they'd like to, I feel.
Yeah, and you know, so, you know, definitely, you know, you're moving from marketing automation to a complete end-to-end customer journey, and that's why, you know, you guys move from, you know, the other 2 products into Ortto. You know, this will help me, you know, discussing customer journey to, you know, the person, you know, is a customer and you need to do follow-up, you want to do upsell, cross-sell, you want to do onboarding for a new product registration, you know, upselling, cross-selling, everything, you know, that happens because I can bring data that is static and dynamic from Salesforce, in this particular case, Salesforce. But if I have product usage, you know, being a digital product or being, you know, when they log into the portal and they create a ticket and so on, I can bring all that data to do, you know, net promoter score, customer satisfaction, you know, upselling, cross-selling, because you have these audiences that you can create and follow through the whole process. You know, and even when you see that, you know, your product issues are going down, you know, probably you have a retention issue.
Exactly.
Know? So your tool should, you know, based on for what I've seen, you know, will the tool be able to help me do that as well?
Yeah, exactly correct. And I think it's like always using kind of like a live example. Like let's say, for instance, for the NPS score, you might want to have the pop-ups. I think let's have a look. Sorry, feedback. So if we want to do a net, we'll do an NPS score as an example, using this as a template. We might want to have this pop up on, when they log in, and we might want to do this for who and people who are users as an example. So log in, has occurred more than, frequency and time in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So they might want to go where we know that we might only want to put an NPS people that have logged in more than 3 times in the first 14 days, in the last 14 days. So that's just an example. Like it's kind of that concept of, because you've got all those different data points, how you can then use that to whether that's, to gather more feedback, or, as an example, this could be to try and capture leads as an example of visiting a pricing page and things like that. And it really starts down here with the data. And once you have that data ingested, it's more about how you want to execute on that data.
Definitely. So, I mean, who who's your audience? So who you going after?
Yeah. So when we initially went to market, we so with Autopilot, the product was definitely it was quite agnostic in the concept that it was suitable for a lot of different audiences. I'll just stop sharing as well. It was suitable for a lot of audiences. So I think in terms of who our customers are at the moment, we've got a range of e-commerce software companies. We work with quite a few agencies as well. But I would probably say where our sweet spot definitely is within the B2B and the B2C space. But for the B2C, more so around, as an example, like it might be like finance companies or insurance companies, because of the customer data side of the product, the ability to have unique identifiers as an example, and the ability
to especially fintechs, no?
Yeah, exactly correct. And particularly, with the release of push notifications and in-app messages, anyone with a mobile app or a web portal is a good spot for us. And then also definitely within the SaaS software space, we also do quite well with what's it called? Like membership-based organizations where they might have a portal where people can log in. That was the example I had on the screen today, where they might have a portal and it's all about activation and member retention and things like that. So we obviously don't say no to any business, but there's definitely those are kind of some of the core focuses.
But you're not focused on the B2B marketing automation, or you're not focused in the B2C customer journey. And let me put this into context. Traditionally, when you look at the legacy marketing automation systems, marketing automation systems are account-based B2B. I market an account and then I go after the contacts. Those are the Marketos, the Pardot, even Hotspot, and so on and so on and so on. Then you have the other tools that are very specific to outbound marketing, customer journeys, more B2C. You're already a customer, okay? And I need you to upsell and cross-sell, and I don't have the inbound capabilities, And then if I want to do, if I am a small base, a small business, I need to buy 2 products to do what you guys do. Here, you have a data model that you bring B2B and B2C. You can combine them because you can create audiences. There's some data that is static, data that is dynamic. You combine them and you have some events that are going to start, shooting messages, to, upsell, cross-sell, sell more, and so on and so on. And of course, provide, customer support and so on, during the life cycle of that. So if somebody's looking into that, if they're listening to us, you guys might be a good fit for them, no?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to articulate. I think where I'd say we help businesses is definitely on that top of funnel activation, capturing more leads on the website. So I think everything starts with your website or your application, and so I think we're there to help with the top of funnel and the middle of the funnel and the end of the funnel as well. And I think for businesses that have using Salesforce or HubSpot as a core tool, we're a great addition on top of that, because we have all the omnichannel engagement tools to help you drive more leads. And I think the big thing for us as well is the engagement component, because of the way because once the data is flowing in, we can clearly identify, great, like if we're a software company, who are our active trials, who are the trials that aren't actually using the product. And then, as an example, who are our active users, who hasn't logged in for 2 months, as an example. We might want to alert the customer success manager. So I think we're all about data activation and just making it more accessible, particularly for, your small to medium teams that don't have like, a data analyst and things like that. For those marketing teams that, want to do a little bit more with their data but can't, that's where we're finding a lot of success, particularly in this stage of our growth.
Excellent. I think we're about to end here today. Anything else that you want to add? Any last words besides, more coffee?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I think, obviously, yeah, we're growing. We're really excited about our stage of growth. And I think, as we continue to kind of develop the product, I think roadmap wise, we've obviously just released push notifications and talk, which is really exciting. A few things down the line, we do really want to focus on that top of funnel marketing team. So things around like attribution as an example and building out custom objects are definitely on our roadmap. I think where we're at from a growth perspective is where obviously Autopilot was in market for a very long time, and we've probably been in market for about 2 years, and the product's quite mature for its offering. And I think we're now in that exciting stage now where it's like better iterations and integrations and I guess effectively making our market bigger, because now we'll be releasing more and more features. But no, obviously, yeah, if anyone ever wants a demo as well, they can just reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay, perfect. And I just want to clarify, because you used to be Autopilot, you have 2 products, marketing automation / journeys in email marketing. You are now Ortto. Like anybody, in the market today, you also have artificial intelligence. That could be another topic. You have
Yes.
integration to Salesforce, Shopify. You have many integration to Stripe, Pipedrive, Zapier, Facebook, WooCommerce, Zendesk, Twilio segment. Okay, that by itself, is another conversation.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, Google Ads, PrestaShop, HostPod, many other, e-commerce solutions, so, whoever is listening, take a look at what they have. And you also provide multi-language support marketing.
We do,
well.
Yeah. So it's automatic multilingual marketing for email and SMS, and the AI can actually, in our chat, there's quite a lot of the product, but the AI as well, you can train on different languages for the support agent, which is quite fun.
You can find them and follow them. So again, this was Jesús Hoyos, Drinking Coffee with Jesús Hoyos, Tomando Café con Jesús Hoyos. Ahora voy a cambiar al español. Ya saben, me pueden seguir en las diferentes redes sociales y me hagan like aquí en YouTube y se suscriban pues cuando puedan pues a los podcasts. Muchas gracias. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend.